Alright guys, in this video I want to share with you my 3 top tips for how to negotiate with Alibaba suppliers. Now I've been using these tips for my first 2 products and for me they've produced very good results, so hopefully they will for you as well. So the 3 tips are: 1 is knowing when to negotiate, secondly is playing off suppliers against each other and how to do that the right way, and the third one, my final tip, which is my favourite one, I'll save till the end, and then at the very end I'll give you an update on my Amazon FBA journey as well. Okay, so the first tip, and that is knowing when to negotiate. So I'll talk you through the process that I follow, and hopefully that explains why I negotiate at the stage that I do. So if I've got a product idea that I've found on Jungle Scout or similar, I'll go onto Alibaba, I'll contact between 5 and 10 suppliers, because as you probably know, not all suppliers will get back to you. And then from the ones that do reply to you, I'll narrow that down to 3 different suppliers. Now I'll make the decision as to which 3 that I want to proceed further with, based on their communication skills and the price point being within a couple of dollars of where I want the final price to be. So once I've established that, I'll then order samples from those 3 suppliers. So I've got 3 comparable samples coming, and it's only when I've got those 3 samples in my hand to compare them will I then start to negotiate. And there's 2 reasons for that. The first one is you don't know how good the quality is going to be. So there's no point negotiating early on and then finding out actually that supplier isn't very good, doesn't produce very good products. And the second one is, once you've got the sample, pretty much in all circumstances you would have paid for that sample. So if you've spent money with that supplier, they're going to take you more seriously. So I think that is the right time to start negotiating, is when you've got the samples and you've already spent a bit of money with that supplier. So on to tip 2, and that is playing off suppliers against each other. Now that sounds really simple until you actually come to do it, and sometimes finding that word in the email can be quite difficult. So I'm going to tell you the approach I take, and hopefully it will work for you as well. So when I'm negotiating and playing them off against each other, I will say to the supplier that they are my preferred supplier. Whether that's true or not, that's irrelevant. I will say to them that you are my preferred supplier. I want to come with you. However, I've got another supplier. Their quality on a spec, on a like-for-like basis is comparable. However, you're currently more expensive than those guys are. So if you can either match or beat those prices, whatever your objective is, say that, tell them what you want to do. Do they want to beat or do you want to match them? Then you will proceed with them. And by doing that, it's almost as if you're on their team. You're saying, come on, help me to order from you, because that's what you're trying to say. And they're much more responsive than if you just say to them, oh, this other supplier is cheaper. Can you beat them? Like my last negotiation, I said to the lady, look, I really like the product you sent me. I also find it much easier communicating with you. Your English is really good. And, I think she was quite flattered by the fact that I said her communication skills were good. That really helped, and she was able to then become the cheapest supplier of the 2, and actually in that situation she was actually my preferred supplier, so it worked out really well on that product. So on to my third and final tip, and this is my favourite tip, and it has worked for me on both of my first products. So that is not telling your supplier the number of products you actually intend to order. So I always will lowball the number. So if I know that I'm planning on ordering 500 products, when I ask for quotes, I will only request quotes based on 300 units. Now, obviously, you have to be careful. Some suppliers have minimum order quantities, and you have to be careful with those suppliers. But in general, this tip really worked well. So if I wanted 500 units, I'd get quotes for 300 units. And then at the very end, once I finish negotiating, based on, playing them off against each other and stuff like that, and I've got a really good price point, I'll say to them, look, we're at, say, for example, we're at $7. If I increase to 400 units, what can you do? Can you go down a little bit lower? Or if I increase to 500 units, can you get to this price? And just by being able to increase your order quantity, even if you are planning on ordering 500 units all along, being able to increase by 1 or 200 just before you place the order will usually get you an additional discount on any discount you've already negotiated. So those are my 3 top tips. Hopefully you find them useful. So just to recap, the first one is knowing when to negotiate. Secondly is playing off suppliers against each other in the right way. And thirdly is giving them a lower order quantity initially to what you actually order, so that you can increase your order at the very end and get an additional discount. So just to give you an update on my Amazon journey, I've decided on my first 2 products. My first product is on the boat and is due to arrive in the port of Felixstowe on the 27th of August. So hopefully we're going to be live on Amazon very first week of September, all being well. I've got the product photo shoot this Thursday, so that's the 23rd of August, I believe. I'm also taking photos of my second product the same day. And then what my plan is to do is, once that first product's launched and I feel confident in this business model, I'll reorder my stock for my first product at the same time I order the first lot of stock for my second product. Obviously, the plus side for my 2 products that I've got coming is coming from the same supplier. So on that second order, hopefully I'll be able to save a bit of money on shipping and those type of fees. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, please hit the like button. It really helps. And I'd love to hear how your Amazon journey is going as well. Let me know in the comments below.